Hello, everyone, and welcome to the April Division III webinar. My name is Talia Williams, and I'm a volleyball student athlete from Carleton College. I proudly represent the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference as well as the Upper Midwest Athletic Conference. I'm incredibly excited to talk to you all today about the Division III Student Athlete Advisory Committee's second annual mental health social media campaign. Our first annual campaign last year had great success and unexpectedly high engagement numbers, so I'm really looking forward to sharing this year's campaign with you all. Later, you will hear from Jess Wagner on some updates and resources from the NCAA Sports Science Institute. Throughout this webinar, I will be discussing the mental health social media campaign and be providing additional information. And then Jess will discuss the Diverse Student Athlete Mental Health and Wellbeing Summit, as well as some resources and best practices from the NCAA Sports Science Institute. So this year's campaign is themed Don't Sleep on Stigmas. We'll be running from May 3rd to May 6th of this year. And by Don't Sleep on Stigmas, we mean that after having the initial conversations around mental health, it's crucial to keep fighting to rid our teams, campuses, and conferences of stigmas surrounding mental health. We don't want to be caught sleeping, but rather stay alert and treat this issue with urgency. Under the Planning the Campaign tab on our website, you can find ways to reach out to your athletics departments, director of communications, and other resources. You can inform your student athletes of the campaign, make connections, and use resources available on your campus. We encourage you to be persistent in this effort. The goal behind this year's campaign is that we don't want to stop fighting to break the stigma as we began our journey last year. There are 3 levels of engagement, and ideas for these can be found under the Engagement Ideas tab. Level 1 consists of creating tweets or social media posts. Level 2 consists of sharing quotes, testimonials, or even videos from your own campus that are related to mental health. And level 3 consists of creating team, school, or conference public service announcements. On the Division III SAC webpage, you can find this template for mental health resources that are specific to your institution. This card is a great way to share resources that are collected and easily accessible for people on your campus. If a physical card isn't the best way for your campus to share these resources, we encourage you to get creative. You can post them on social media, you can make posters, make stickers with the listed resources. You could even make QR codes that hold direct links to all of the resources listed on the template card. I will now pass it over to Jess Wagner from SSI.
Thanks so much, everyone, for being here, and thank you, Talia, for the introduction. Here at the NCAA Sports Science Institute, I oversee our mental health portfolio, and we'll be spending some time today to go over some of the response that we've had to the COVID-19 pandemic in the realm of mental health, to go over some mental health resources, and then happy to answer any questions you may have. First off, I want to express my sincere thanks and gratitude to all of the D3 administrators, staff, and student athletes for your resiliency this year. It's been about a year into the COVID-19 pandemic, and you continue to do your great work both as a student and as a student athlete. And so I wanted to spend some time about how did the NCAA respond to the pandemic and how can we support your mental health as we continue engaging in this pandemic. So during a crisis, it can both impact both our physical and mental health. And so in the beginning of the pandemic, we conducted a well-being survey to look at how the virus was impacting the mental health of student athletes. We again did this survey in fall of last year. And what we found out from the survey was that there is many mental health concerns that student athletes were reporting, specifically not only in academics, but also expressing concern about lack of access to sport and also financial worries. One area that was of interest was that the student athletes of color started experiencing more mental health concerns such as racism and an increase of mental health issues. As a response to this, we held a summit on the mental health and well-being of student athletes. And you'll see before you in this slide, we had a 3-tier goal to this summit. The first was to analyze the results of the survey and conduct a review of the literature of what educational resources exist for athletics and support of student athlete mental health well-being, particularly in serving diverse student athletes. And then our intermediate goal was to create recommendations from the participants, and you'll see there before you, from various athletic backgrounds to help us reach resources that we could share with the membership on education, research, and policy. And our long-term goal will be to look at how to get student athletes into diverse pipelines such as mental health profession, medicine, athletic training or profession, etc. And so right now from the summit, we have concluded the statements from the participants, and we'll be spending the next several months sharing these and sharing updates with the various NCAA committees, including our national SAC or a D3 SAC organization. From that, we will continue our charge to work on educational resources. So please stay tuned for more from this summit. In addition to our charge from the summit and the issues related to COVID-19, I wanted to share some resources that support mental health of not only of our student athletes, but also of our administrators. The first one, and you'll see on these slides, it's all hyperlinked, is SSI mental health fact sheets. We have various ones, including anxiety disorders, depression, etc. Just as Talia mentioned, one of the first steps in breaking mental health stigma is being aware of the signs and symptoms and talking about your mental health well-being. So these fact sheets are very helpful and can be printed out and displayed in the locker room or in other areas on campus. The other is we have short modules on how to support student athlete mental health, and they are geared towards different audiences. We have one for our faculty athletic representatives, coaches, and student athletes. In addition, we have a book called The Mental Health Best Practices, which focuses on 4 core recommendations on how to support student athlete mental health. And so you'll see those before you. In this resource, it also has examples of how to do these best practices, resources, and also some first-hand accounts from different athletic staff. In addition to those resources, we continue to update our resources related specifically to COVID-19. If you go to the website before you, we also, when you click on this link, have a tab specifically on mental health resources, but also have various other tabs such as student athlete resources, campus resource, and then also divisional resources as well. To stay up to date with the latest information that we have on mental health, please sign up for the SSI newsletter, which you will find in the box on our SSI homepage, and follow us as well on Twitter. This slide before you has also other external resources that athletics would find handy, everything from tips for athletes, coaches, and parents on related to how to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic and mental health well-being, to a podcast specifically focused on student athlete mental health, and other resources such as a list of telehealth providers during this time of campuses not being totally in person yet.
Great. Thank you to Talia and Jess today for joining us. Also, as you said, Jess, many of her PowerPoint slides is presented online, so you can use all those links in both these PowerPoints for your use as you move forward in your mental health on campus and educating those. So, Jess or Talia, do you have any final information you'd like to share before we sign off today?
I think I would just encourage everyone to get on social media with this and make sure to use our hashtag Don't Sleep on Stigmas in your posts and tweets so that we can stay up to date with what you've got going on campus.
Yeah, and I would just like to add to that. I think it's really amazing to see D3 to be running this campaign again and to have it being led by the student athletes. So I'm really exciting to see this. SSI will be supporting this initiative as well on our social media, and we'll be sharing it with our mental health partners as well. So kudos again to the student athletes of D3 for really taking a step forward and putting this as such an important issue during the month of May and throughout the whole year. So thank you for that.
Where can you find the template for the mental health social cards? And as Talia mentioned, they are available on the D3 SAC page. And then, Talia, do you want to speak to that at all, as how they can use that on campus?
Yeah, so you can find the template for that card on the D3 SAC webpage, like Ali said, and that card can be used any way that you see fit. It's sort of just there for a template to give suggestions on how to share resources on your campus. Obviously, you can get creative with it and change things or rearrange, however, to fit the needs of your campus.
And then another question just came in. Can you elaborate on what other facts you have or may be developing in the future? So, Jess, I will send this one your way.
Sure thing. Thanks for that. So much of what we received so far preliminary from the summit that I mentioned really focuses on education of not only for the student athletes, but also of athletic staff, such as coaches, on how to support student athletes from diverse backgrounds. So much of it will be dependent on what feedback we get from the various NCAA committees that we will be presenting this information to. But this could be anything ranging from additional fact sheets to webinars or modules and or a toolkit. So it really just depends on what direction we hear. But if anyone has any specific ideas, also feel free to send those our way too, based on what you're dealing with on campus and within your athletics department. Of note, though, on our summit, there was a D3 participant, not only from the student athlete voice, but also from the administrator level as well. So your voices will be funneled through the committee process as well.
You can also find a PowerPoint copy of this on the Division III homepage under Division III webinars, which is ncaa.org/D3. I just want to give a shout out to everyone. Happy D3 week. We are proud to be together as coaches, administrators, student athletes, and all beyond that, our athletic trainers. A special shout out to you as we just finished, I think, National Athletic Trainers Month. So we appreciate you for all you do. Just like we do for this mental health social media campaign, we hope you are active during D3 week using the hashtag #YD3. We appreciate you. Enjoy, and thank you for joining us today for the April Division III webinar.